Okay, welcome, Deepak.
Hi, thanks, Soren.
You know, I think most people haven't even read 95 books, much less written 95 books. So it's a great honor to have you with us today. Thank you for coming. We're going to talk about consciousness. And I've listened to your work for decades and enjoyed all your books and all your talks. And it seems like increasingly, in the last 4 or 5 years, I hear you talking almost exclusively on consciousness. And I was wondering if this was an intentional shift or whether it's just I'm hearing you differently than you've always talked about consciousness, and now I'm actually just hearing you differently.
It's been a natural evolution. I come from a spiritual tradition where there are 4 ashrams. Ashram means place you call home. There are 4 ashrams in our lifetime. The first 25 years is education. The second 25 years is fame and fortune.
You did that okay.
Did that okay. Third 25 years is giving back. And the fourth 25 years is preparing for death and self-realization. So I'm in my 4th ashram right now. And so my focus has become totally that.
Beautiful.
What is reality? What is existence? Who are we? What happens to us after we die? Is there a divine presence? And does it care about us? And so that's my focus. Now, of course, I do these talks and write these books because I'm a bit neurotic and I need to do something, but I spend most of my day, when I'm not doing something, I spend most of my day in meditation, reflection, yoga, breathing, etc.
Beautiful. So let's start with those topics. What is reality? What is consciousness? So maybe we'll start with reality. Is there an answer to that question? What is reality? Because we were talking about how there's the VR headsets, but we're also in our own VR. So I'd love to hear a little bit of your thoughts around reality and what we know of it.
Reality is nothing perceivable or conceivable. I'll repeat that.
Okay.
Reality is nothing perceivable or conceivable, but it makes perception and conception possible. And that reality, for lack of a better word, is consciousness or awareness. Without consciousness, you don't have any experience, perceptual or cognitive. So you say, where is this consciousness? Where is it? Because you can't see it. But without it, there's no seeing. You can't hear it. Without it, there's no hearing. You can't think about it, imagine it. But without it, there's neither conception or imagination. So anything that you perceive, anything that you perceive, this is not real. Why do I say that? Well, from a scientific perspective, this is molecules and atoms.
Yeah.
They're made of particles. And according to current interpretation, those particles are wave-like and particle-like. When you're looking at them, they appear as particles with units of mass and energy. When you're not looking at them, they disappear into mathematical space, which has no location in space-time.
Yeah.
So what is this? It's something that is inconceivable being perceived as this, or this, or this, or this. And it's totally unreliable. Totally unreliable. If you can see it, perceive it, think about it, it's a magical lie. Okay? My perception tells me the earth is flat. Nobody believes that anymore.
Yeah.
My perception tells me the ground we're sitting on is stationary. We know it's spinning at dizzying speeds and hurtling through space at thousands of miles an hour. My perception tells me you're a 3-dimensional solid figure over there, and I'm here, and I know you and I are both proportionately as void as intergalactic space.
Right.
So all our technology, including AI, by the way, is based on the overthrow of the superstition of matter. There's no such thing. Matter is a human construct for human perceptual experiences only. which is a very narrow band of perceptual activity. The visual band is 300 to 800 nanometers. But outside of that, we don't experience it. What does this look like to an insect with 100 eyes? What does this look like to a bat that only knows the echo of ultrasound? I can't even remotely imagine what this looked like to a chameleon whose eyeballs swivel on 2 different axes. Yeah. So fundamentally, if you can see it, touch it, taste it, smell it, think about it, imagine it, perceive it, it's not real. It's a lie. The only thing that's real is the inconceivable and the imperceivable, which is consciousness. You say, where is this consciousness? Well, it doesn't have a form. If it had a form, you'd be able to perceive it. If it doesn't have a form, it doesn't have a border. Yeah. If it doesn't have a border, then it's infinite. Yeah. It's spaceless, it's timeless, it's fundamental, it's irreducible, it's incomprehensible, and it's you. So right now, just to give you a little experience on this idea, because I could sense everybody talking about it indirectly. I was sitting there in the last 4 talks. By the way, did you find the conversation interesting so far? Okay, so now let me ask you the same question, but don't answer it till I raise my hand, okay? Did you find the conversation interesting? So the question was a mental event. The answer was a mental event. In between is you, consciousness. Has no form, has no location. So now, once again, I ask you the same question. Did you find this conversation interesting? Don't answer it, just slip into it. And that which you slipped into is infinite. Infinite. And not in space-time, because it has no borders. In fact, space-time is an experience in that. And as infinite, it is not subject to birth and death. Only fluctuations of it, which are sensations, sense perceptions, images, feelings, and thought, they, of course, are born and die every moment at the speed of light. But you, that is fluctuating as all this, so if I ask you, what am I experiencing now, right now? What are you experiencing? We are experiencing this. Go outside the Milky Way galaxy and our own thoughts all at the same time. And where is that experience happening? It's mind-boggling, outside of space-time. This experience right now is being processed outside of space-time. So if you ask, where am I going after death? The answer is you're there right now. You can't even access a memory or a perception or a thought or an image or a sensation without going to somewhere that is outside of space-time. What we call the universe is a digital workshop in cosmic consciousness, which is outside space-time. And I would offer you a mathematical formula, which mathematicians will object to, but I think it's the right formula for our existence. 0 is equal to 1 is equal to infinity. So it starts with infinity, and it fluctuates as zeros and ones, which is this, and all this. All this. This is, and so you say, what is the meaning of birth and death? And birth and death are happening all the time. Without death, there's no birth. Without birth, there's no death. So life is not the opposite of death. Life is the continuum of birth and death. You need both. So, and they are happening ceaselessly in what we can call now. And what is now is this presence, which is incomprehensible, but without it, no experience. So once you totally understand that, then you get rid of all these concepts. Birth, death, these are human constructions for the incomprehensible, unimaginable, radically fundamental being or presence that you are. So consciousness and presence and being and spirit and soul is the matrix. And I heard this talk on XR and VR. We're already in it. You are in a VR experience. Alan Watts, who was from this area, he said, if religion is the opiate of the masses, then the Indians had the dope on it. And the dope basically is that who you are is not subject to birth and death, And the Bhagavad Gita, which was quoted earlier when you were speaking to Charles, Lord Krishna, in chapter 13 says, I'm the field and I'm the knower of the field. So the field is the field of consciousness. And it knows itself as this. So who am I? I am that out. And then goes on to say, water cannot wet it, wind cannot dry it, weapons cannot shatter it, fire cannot burn it, and it is not subject to birth and death, and that's who you are. And in today's language, you would say we are cognitive agents in a matrix of cognitive agents that is projecting the human universe in which all these forms and phenomena are simultaneously co-arising and co-subsiding ceaselessly in timeless now, not even the present moment, because as soon as you say present moment, there's time. There's you and there's me. But in timeless now, there's us. There's only us. And it's, once again, infinite, fluctuating as zeros and ones.
So I get that on one level, on an ultimate consciousness. And how do you work in this world of form where you go to the bank and they say, who are you? Can you show some identification? And you say, I am you, you are me. We're floating in this field of consciousness. Are you with me? And you might not get any money out of that bank.
So listen, I made a lot of money in my life, okay? Here's what I say. These days, I meet a lot of entrepreneurs, not as many as the people before me, because they have the money. But they always talk to me about their last exit, this exit, that exit, that exit. And I asked them...
Exit for the it's when you get bought or you go public.
Yeah,
you get a
your
financial,
company gets bought. You went public. And I asked them, have you thought of your last exit? Because that's the only one that counts, right? All these other exits, they come and go. But that last exit, what do you want to say at that time? I made a lot of money, or I got so stressed that I won't now have to spend the money on getting well. Here's my formula. I ask myself, anytime I'm doing anything, and I've been fairly successful, I said, is it joyful? Am I hanging out with joyful people? Am I creating joy in the world? And if the answer is yes, I'm in. And it works. It works. So if joy is the only measure of success, that's the right formula.
That's beautiful.
Even for making money.
These are beautiful. Is it joyful for you to do? Is it joyful with joyful people? And do you feel like you're bringing joy in?
And you bring joy. And joy is the only measure of success. Because if you don't have joy, what's the point?
Exactly. That's beautiful. It's hard to know where to take it from here because I feel like we covered a lot of the fundamentals of this. So
let's do an exercise.
Let's do an exercise.
Okay. Take any object, okay? Take, let's take this. And if I ask you what is it, you'd say, it's a glass of water. Okay? Now let's say you're a baby. You have, by the way, we invented language only 50,000 years ago. Until 50,000 years ago, Homo sapiens had language that all other biological organisms have, which is mating calls, food calls, and danger calls, because that's how we survive. Then this species, Homo sapiens, which means the wise ones, we gave ourselves that name out of extreme humility. We said
It's an aspiration.
we are the wise ones. We created a language for stories. And guess what the most important stories were and still are? Gossip. Who's sleeping with whom? Who can we trust? Who can we not trust? Etc., etc. But then we created language for models. We're now talking about large language models, okay? We created language for models. We created money as a language. Okay? There was no such thing.
Yeah.
But we said, let's use this thing to exchange our values.
Yeah.
And with that, we created empire states and nation states. Then we created language for coordinates, latitude, longitude, Greenwich Mean Time. Not Botswana Mean Time, Greenwich Mean Time. That's the colonial history. But that language then has evolved today to large language models, biological language, physics language, mathematics language, philosophical language, spiritual language, whatever, anthropology. There's no human being who has access to all these languages. But now we have the ability. And if language and tool-making goes back 2.6 million years. But language, this narrative language for creating models is only 50,000 years. If these two things created the human experience of the universe, then I'm saying right now that you wait for 10 years and we are not only going to be experiencing a cultural leapfrogging of our cultural intelligence or social intelligence, cultural and social intelligence, we're going to see a leapfrogging of our biological intelligence. So from humans to what I call meta-humans. Because every experience in consciousness modulates your gene activity and epigenetic activity. So right now, as you're listening to me or watching me, your genes here are being activated and neural networks are being activated. But that requires your whole body to cooperate. Because the body is notwithstanding that we have large language models that are AI, your body is not even that.
Yeah.
How does a human body think thoughts, play a piano, kill germs, remove toxins, make a baby all at the same time? While it's doing that, it can track the movement of stars and planets because your biological rhythms are the symphony of the whole universe. So this is the incomprehensibility of experience that is metabolized as our genetic and epigenetic activities. What the future human is going to be in 50 years is beyond our imagination, even biologically, forget culturally and socially. But going back to my original experiment, if you didn't have language and you weren't a tool maker, remember, we all started with tools, Flintstones and then, hammers and then knives and now AI, that's all part of our history. If we hadn't discovered fire, we wouldn't have the steam engine. We didn't have the steam engine, we wouldn't have the industrial age. We didn't have the industrial age, we wouldn't have the age of technology. We didn't have the age of technology, we wouldn't have the age of AI. So this is what we've done as a human species. But have we, or has consciousness done it using this as a biological form to express itself? Going back to my experiment, you have no language, you have never been exposed to culture, you're a baby, you arrive on this interpreted world, but right now it hasn't been interpreted to you. What do you experience? You experience a sensation, a taste, maybe a smell, sound, a feeling, a color, a shape. And you say, what is that? What is that? It's a form of sensation. So what is giving that sensation? What is fluctuating as that sensation? It's consciousness knowing itself as this. So what is this? It's not a glass of water, it's you. In fact, everything that you look at the universe, and your body is part of that, is part of the VR, the extended reality that we're already in. Okay? and the Indians call it Maya. Maya means illusion, dream. Etymologically, Maya is connected to matrix, matter, time, meter, measurement, mother, mata, matrika. It's the matrix of conscious agents that's projecting the experience of the human universe. So who created the universe? We did. And we did it unconsciously, but now we have the opportunity to actually create a universe and the experience. I shouldn't even say create the universe because there's no such thing. Right. It's a human construct based on sensations, images, feelings, and thoughts, which are fluctuations of consciousness. In Indian language, Shiva is the pure consciousness, and Shakti is its fluctuations in the matrix that appear as the universe. Call it fluctuations, VR, extend AR, XR, whatever. We are in the matrix, and this is the play of consciousness, which is called Leela. And the only purpose is playful, spontaneous creativity.
So I'm with you on a lot of those pieces, in particular, like it's so easy to see that money is a story, right? Everyone believes that money doesn't have any inherent value, a piece of paper, right? But we create a story around that, and it creates dysfunction in our society. At the same time, you have certain politicians that also talk about that their reality is the reality, right? That's like, oh no, I actually won this election, or I actually did this, or actually these people. And the data would not suggest that that information is true, but they would say, well, who's to say your data is true? I know what's true. And so there's this way in which the data of what usually we expect is like, oh no, this is actually true. People are saying, well, no, that's not true. It's all made up. I actually make up the truth. And that there's a danger potentially in more dictatorships coming a part of the world because the truth is whatever they say the truth is, versus like,
there are many ways of answering your question, Soren. First of all, yes, money is a story we created to exchange values.
Yeah.
And so depending on your values, you find yourself in an ecosystem of exchange, which is what money is. Yeah. Exchange. We call it Wall Street exchange. Right. Exchange. So if your ecosystem of exchange is, say, pornography or whatever, sensual experiences, you can make a lot of money in Las Vegas, okay? And that's your ecosystem. Yeah. If your ecosystem politics, then it's power, power-mongering, influence peddling, cronyism, corruption, and amassing wealth for yourself. That's your reality. Right. And if your ecosystem is your hanging out with people who want to know what is truth and how can I get close to it, then you create spiritual communities. Yeah. And in Eastern wisdom traditions, the key to creating any community is Sangha. Sangha means community in Sanskrit. Seva, service, and sadhana, which is spiritual practice. Yeah. The Buddhists have different words for it. Sure. Take refuge in the Buddha, take refuge in the Dharma, and take refuge in the Sangha. Same thing. Yeah. So we are all in little bubbles of ecosystems with leaky margins. And ultimately, in the deeper reality, nobody is conscious. You're not conscious. Animals are not conscious. People are not conscious. You are experiences in consciousness. Yeah. Only consciousness is conscious. Yeah. And that consciousness is divine, it's fundamental, and it's the real you. Again, the ground of being is one. The ground of all existence is one. And the phrase frequently used in Sanskrit is Atman is Brahman. Atman is you as the soul. Brahman is that which is projecting as the universe. So actually, if you read Schrodinger's book, written 1948 or something, What is Life? And without Schrodinger's equation, we won't have anything today. You know, all our technology is based on one equation, okay? Whether it's multiverses or VR or XR or AI, one equation, Schrodinger's equation. And if you read his book, 1948, he likens his equation, the wave function, to Atman. He says, and it's so crazy that people don't even remember what the pioneers said. Max Planck said, you can't get behind consciousness. Okay, Schrödinger, Atman is the wave function of the universe. I mean, how did we come to this place where the pioneers of quantum mechanics, Max Planck, as I said, they can't get behind consciousness. Werner Heisenberg, without an observer, there is no experience of the universe. In fact, the observer is needed to collapse the wave function into particles. What happened? Yeah. We regressed in 100 years because we got so caught up in the superstition of materialism, which is destroying our world.
Yeah. And when you look at one of the inquiries that I've been making is, what if AI is an invitation, rather than calling it good or bad? But what if we viewed it as an invitation? Does that question have any energy to you, or do you feel like the invitation has always been the same? It's to wake up to who we really are.
I think there is an invitation, but let's look at it from a deeper point of view. Right now, if you believe all the science, which creates models of reality, by the way, science does not access reality. It creates models of reality, okay, which any scientist will agree with. So according to the current models of reality, that's science, all these telescopes floating out there, there are 2 trillion galaxies. 2 trillion galaxies. 700 sextillion stars, uncountable trillions of planets, 60 billion habitable planets in the Milky Way galaxy alone. And this is based on the math, okay, which is the basis for physics, quantum mechanics, and everything we do, okay? It starts from there. Math, which nobody knows where math is other than in consciousness. Where else could it be? But according to that, 60 billion habitable planets in the Milky Way galaxy, because they fall into what is called the Goldilocks zone. So if a planet is too close to its sun, too hot as we know it, no life as we know it, too far, too cold, but that's just the biosphere. You need the right cosmological constants, gravitational to electromagnetic field ratios, innumerable factors to have life as we know it. 60 billion habitable planets in the Milky Way galaxy, multiply that by 2 trillion galaxies, 700 sextillion stars. We are not even a grain of sand in all the beaches and the deserts of this planet. 1 grain of sand. It goes away, the beach and the desert doesn't notice. So if we blew up this whole thing, it wouldn't matter.
Right.
Okay.
The universe would go on.
The universe will go on. And it might also, if the universe is a conscious being, which I believe it is, say, yeah, human species, good experiment, didn't work. Let's try something else. Okay.
It's just like the flick on Instagram or something.
By the way, that is the current model of eternal inflation. It's like a cosmic Las Vegas, where you have infinite slot machines going up and down infinite times. And infinite times, they have the opportunity of creating a new universe. So that's one perspective. The other perspective is, with all this knowledge, we can upgrade this illusion. We can actually create a more peaceful, just, sustainable, healthier, and joyful world. And if we don't do it, shame on us.
That's the other perspective.
That's the other perspective.
And if we looked at the latter, what would be our process for that? Let's say we heeded this call, that part of the, let's just pretend for a moment, the invitation of AI is for humans to evolve to know who we truly are in consciousness. What would that look like?
Okay, well, how much time do we have?
We have 12 minutes, 45 seconds.
We have eternity then.
We have eternity. Time is an illusion, Deepak.
That's
it's an
why
illusion.
I said we have eternity. Please close your eyes. Please close your eyes. Observe your breath. This was the first Vipassana that the Buddha introduced to the world, just from observing the breath. The following conclusions. breath is a sensation. Second conclusion, every experience is a sensation. Third conclusion, we don't breathe, we are being breathed. Fourth conclusion, whatever arises subsides, the law of impermanence. Next conclusion, we share the same breath. Next conclusion, the separate self does not exist. By observing the breath. Now, move your awareness to your heart and mentally ask yourself, what am I? Not who am I, what am I? Don't try to answer the question, but let's go deeper. Ask yourself, am I the changing body, or am I the awareness in which the body is a changing, fluctuating experience? Am I the changing body, or am I the awareness in which the body is an intermittent, fluctuating experience? Am I the changing mind, or am I the awareness in which the mind is a changing, fluctuating experience? What am I? Am I the changing personality, or am I the awareness in which the personality is evolving? Now, if you want to run for president, don't answer that question. Am I the changing personality, or am I the awareness in which what we call a person is an evolving experience? Now let's go a little deeper. What do I want? What is my deepest desire? Don't try to answer the question. Just be aware of any sensation, any feeling, any image, any thought, any sensation that arises. What do I want? What is my deepest desire? Third reflection. What is my purpose? Why do I do what I do? Don't try to answer it. Just be aware of any sensation, any image, any feeling, any thought. And when it comes, notice it, let it go. What is my purpose? Fourth question. Notwithstanding all the challenges that I'm having or there are in the world, what am I grateful for? This question opens the door to your soul. What am I grateful for? Allowing any sensation, any image, any feeling, any thought. What am I grateful for? And now let's go a little deeper. Be aware of sound, including the sound of my voice. Any sound. Notice that sound is like the breath. It arises, it's a sensation. You experience it, then it disappears. Before it arises again, like the breath. So as you're aware of sound, just remind yourself, I'm the awareness in which sounds arise and subside. Now feel your body from the inside out. Feel your sensations from the inside out. Feel your skin touching your clothes. Notice those sensations arise and subside just like the breath. So remind yourself, I am the awareness in which sensations arise and subside. Now let's create some images in our awareness. So let's create the image of snow-clad mountains. A beautiful sunset on the ocean. A lush green valley. A rainbow. A starlit sky with the full moon. Notice they flicker in and out, just like the breath, just like sounds, just like sensations. So please remind yourself, I'm the awareness in which forms, phenomena, shapes, colors arise and subside. Generate some saliva in your mouth. Taste it. Taste the back of your teeth, the roof of your mouth. I'm the awareness in which flavors arise and subside. Bring one of your hands to your nostrils. Smell it. I'm the awareness in which odors and fragrances arise and subside. They're all sensations. Now let's generate something that we call an emotion. Let's select the highest emotion that we can be capable of, which we call love. So bring into your awareness any being that you love. And now, as you bring in your awareness the presence of that being that you love, feel the emotion, the sensation. Bring your awareness in your heart and feel the emotion that we call love. I'm the awareness, the presence in which emotions arise and subside. And I generate them. And now let your awareness expand outside the boundaries of your skin. Let it engulf this room. Let your awareness expand, engulf the city of San Francisco, the state of California, the continent, the planet, the solar system, the Milky Way galaxy. Keep expanding it. 2 trillion galaxies, 700 sextillion stars, uncountable trillions of planets. I'm the awareness in which the entire universe recycles and evolves as my own sensations, images, feelings, and thoughts. The rest is a story. I'm the awareness in which the entire universe is recycling and evolving as sensations, sense perceptions, images, feelings, and thoughts. Now let that all go and rest in the awareness that you are. Rest in your presence. Rest in your being. Be aware of being aware. Be aware of being aware. This is who we are. Awareness has no shape, no form, no color, no sound, no borders. It is not in time. It is not 5 years old or 1 billion years old. It is not in space. But all that we call space-time and causality, the entire theater that we call the universe, is recycling and evolving in this presence. So just rest in this presence. This presence is holy. It's whole. And it is already healed. Just rest in your own being. You can relax into your body and then open your eyes. As you know, our
Thank you.
favorite person, Rumi, said God's language is silence. Everything else is a poor translation. So, if we carry this presence wherever we go, then we are healed. We are already holy.
So we just have about 1 minute left. I was thinking, Deepak, maybe now's a good time to give them the deepest stuff, the real deep stuff. You think they're ready for it?
The deepest stuff is there is existence, and there is awareness of existence. We know there is existence, right? This exists. And there is awareness of existence. If there was no awareness, then there's no existence. So awareness is existence. You want the deep stuff in one line? You and the universe are awareness, period.
Wow. Another phrase I like, which I heard is a Native American Indian phrase, that says, don't speak unless you can improve on silence. So maybe we'll just sit in silence for just a few moments and take in, digest what Deepak just shared with us. I know it doesn't matter because you don't need it, but it feels like you're using this last quadrant of life very, very well. And it's an honor to be in the field with you as you are deepening your insights and your awareness and your beingness and your connection to that. And it's just a real honor to be in that field that you
It's a privilege
embody.
for me.
And so deep, thank you. Deep, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Deepak Chopra.